Okay, so welcome everybody. We're just going to have a brief look at our assessments for this. And I'll just have myself up there. I'll put baby in the corner. Okay, great. So you can see here, this is what my porthole looks like. Yours might look a little different. But you can see at the top, it says T2 of 4. That means task 2 of 4 tasks that we give you. So there's 4 altogether. At the very beginning of it, it says the overview and instructions. And this is where Vinny was putting into your chat. It takes you into First Access and you can click on there and it'll take you to where you put your username. So your username is 2 words, Hader Institute. Your password is Hader 123456. Now, I like to copy and paste this and put it on a Word document and place it inside a folder so that I've got it all the time. You will use this more than 150 times throughout your Cert 4. You will be going into your work site. So the very first part and the overview and instructions, it says that you're going to need some information in there. So with this task, it says that we are going to observe you working with the client, whether you submit a recording or you do it in class. There's 2 ways to do it: live with an assessor in real time or independently. If it has an assessor, is it mandatory to be there? We'll have it in bold red across there. This must be done with an assessor. Usually that's because there's a group, but this one is one-on-one, you and the client. And then it says, we're going to watch you work around wellbeing support to reflect recovery orientated practice in a simulated workplace environment. So I'm in a simulated workplace environment. You can tell that I work for Hader. Behind me, I have the Hader logo. If you are doing a role play, you're going to put a virtual picture up or blur your background and you'll be dressed for work. You're in class, you're in your PJs, that's cool. I totally understand that. You're working from home and I want you to feel relaxed. But your role plays, you are simulating a workplace environment. So that's exactly what it means. I will turn up dressed for work. I will speak like I'm at work. My recording will be as I would conduct myself at work. And it'll say something like no greater than 10 minutes. Know that we need a 10-minute recording. If you did 12 minutes, we wouldn't send that back. If you sent me 25, I'd go, come on, people. But no greater than 10. It's what we're asking of you. And that's actually harder than you think, to get all of these points in there of what we're looking for. When you are with the client in real time, your time can often be 45 minutes. If someone's booked in back to back, you'll see 5 clients a day. You'll get 45 minutes with them and 15 minutes to write your file notes or fill in their case plan. So 10 minutes is hard, but that's why we get you to do so many, because your skills will be able to help you expand that once you're actually with the client. So part A is you will complete an assessment of the well-being of the client. The only way you're going to know where they are up to with their psychache or their well-being is to ask them open-ended questions. That's part A. So you're filling in an assessment with them, intake and assessment. Part B is you will complete a role play where another person will play the role of your client, Mary. You must follow the relevant First Access policies and procedures, which is why it gives you that link to go in, to provide interpersonal communication and counselling techniques. Now, they're your micro skills. You are then to develop and document in collaboration with your client around the plan what promotes physical, social, emotional, and cultural well-being using the template provided. I'll show you how to get all of that information. And then part C to this is you will complete a role play where another person will play your client, Mary. You are to perform a review of the person's well-being and reflect on the effectiveness of the initial work you did and the service you provided. So there's a part A, intake assessment. Part B, you're working with Mary. And then part C, Mary, how's everything going? Are you happy with the appointments that we made? Whatever it is you decided to do in part B, you're going to be talking about that. Mary might go, look, I know you organised it for me, but I just couldn't walk in the door. Great. That means now you know where Mary most needs your assistance. Mary's anxiety may be so heightened that she can't physically walk in through the door by herself. Many people experiencing mental health issues struggle accessing mainstream services. So when someone doesn't report for an appointment with their job agency or to Centrelink or attend school all the time, it's not necessarily because they're being oppositional about it. It's just that they can't. They're stuck. And that paralysis of being able to deal with it, it feels unsafe. Their experience could have been so negative. That's where you come in to walk beside them with that, or to help them build the strength to be able to do those things independently. We are not their rescuers and they are not our victims. They may be victim survivors of something, but that is not where we are. We work strength-based, person-centered. Mary is going to drive what Mary needs. Okay. So just coming further down the page, it says you complete this in your own time, which means you don't need to have an assessor. We will tell you when the due date at the end of your 12 months or beyond. You know, like I'm encouraging you not to park your role plays because you've got between 20 and 25 hours of skills throughout your qualification that you're going to have to do. If you leave them, that will be a mountain you just cannot jump. And a lot of them, it refers back to something you did in one of the tasks inside that unit. I would encourage you, don't progress until you've completed a unit. The only ones that you would pause are the ones that you are waiting for an assessor to book you, and that needs 3 or 4 other learners to be as well. Some of that's out of your control and the responsibility sits with us, okay? And we'll guide you around that. But the ones where it says complete on your own, that is with you. But you can watch others, and if you're not ready to do that, you can do it in class. It's very safe and very supportive, or you can get a few of you together, or you can book and say, look, I'll take you up on one of those Saturdays. I'll bring a couple of people in and I'll have a coaching session and we'll go from there. There's lots of options for you as a group and also individually. So what happens if you do your own role play and it comes back and it's not yet satisfactory? We'll give you feedback. This is great. I'll keep this as part 1, but you've got a gap and here is what's missing, and we will guide you on that. You'll need to put your pants on, have a simulated workplace environment. Don't read from a script. Make sure you're on the screen the whole time it's being recorded. They're the sorts of things, not the pants on, but believe me, that happens. But it really has to be, if you give me 3 minutes, then I'll send it back and say, expand on that, get it really into those open-ended questions. It didn't sound like the client spoke 60% of the time and you 40%. This is client driven. So you've got to get that other person prepared. I love it if you do this with your colleagues because they've got skin in the game, and you flip it and you be the client for each other. That is valuable. That is very great. You know, love that work. If you possibly can. Not always easy to do. Just make sure that the person that you get to do the role is 18 or over, and that if it is triggering, that you look after them. That will be your responsibility to make sure you choose someone. When we're working with our peers, there's some knowledge and skills there, so that does help. Okay, so here are our instructions. Okay, so it just walks you through it. It says this will take you to the client assessment template. So you don't have to come up with, oh, what have I got to do? It's there. We walk you through that. It's in the document. And then you write your case notes. And here's the story about Mary. Mary is a 34-year-old woman who was recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Now, that's a clinical diagnosis. We don't do that. We don't even need to see proof that Mary was recently diagnosed with it. If Mary presents to us and says, I've got bipolar, then we need to have our knowledge around that, not in a clinical sense, but enough to know about that. That's where some of your own research will be. What does that present? What does it sound like? What does that look like? You may know someone who is bipolar or have heard about that, but there's a lot of myths around this. People with bipolar can function very well, hold down jobs, stay in relationships. They struggle with the highs being too high or the lows too low. And that's about regulating their system. So we work with calming techniques and that. And I can see a hand coming up, but I won't answer that until we come out of recording. So Mary lives alone in an apartment and works part-time as a freelance graphic designer. And she has a history of substance abuse but we're going to have to find out, is that current? Is that something she's struggling with, feeling like she may relapse if she's unwell? And oftentimes people will self-medicate. They'll use alcohol, they'll use substances, they'll use the respectable addict, the workaholic, being, a gym junkie. There's lots of things where maladaptive coping mechanisms turn up. So it's not a label, it's to help us understand what it is that Mary puts in place to help. And you are now going to give her options. So her history of abuse means that she also struggles with anxiety and social isolation. So she's working from home. That can happen. So now it's about, getting out of that comfort zone when she's ready and feeling safe to do so. You are to play the role of Maria Camberwell. You are a case manager working for First Access. Mary has recently been referred to you to assist with delivering collaborative wellbeing support that reflects recovery-orientated practice. And that's a mouthful. So your learner guide gives you a lot of that knowledge and information. The pre-recording that I'm going to have sent out to you, the only reason you haven't got it already is because I had no voice last week. But I will do that, and I'm recording a little bit of this here, and I will have 2 small recordings for you after tonight's class. One of them is going to give you the full overview. So you will complete the client assessment for Mary. And if you want to, on your page, it'll let you add in some extra notes and it will get you to upload your recording. Click to browse. So if you've saved your recording in a folder, it will open it up so you can go in and get that out. And then it'll ask you, once it's there, it'll go upload that file and then save it. And when you're ready, you can submit that. Know that you need these 2 documents also will go with your recording: client assessment template and Mary notes. And then the following, again, you've got to go back into First Access, the template, Mary's notes, which is your instructions. And here it says you'll complete it with another person. And here it says role play instructions. So if you're in your portal now, if you have access to it, if you don't, that doesn't matter, because Chelsea's going to be in there. But someone needs to have it to play the role of Mary for Chelsea. So I would like one of our more experienced Hayley learners. When I say experienced, I mean you enrolled earlier than some people and you have done some of those role plays. And then, of course, you're going to do the review. We often do a follow-up. You might work with the client 6 times or 1. You might work with them every week for a decade. It really just depends on your service model and the role that you have, that you're employed to do. So for this one, it just has you working with Mary on 2 occasions. There's a different role play instruction for the review. And then there's an evaluation template. Now that's a different document. That means that you're going to write down what went well, what didn't, what recommendations you have, what are the next steps. And that's pretty much a learner's journey. So I'll stop sharing, but we're still recording. Emma, I've got a question. Is your question about what we're talking about, or is that something you'd like to bring up later?
I hit the wrong button. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay. No harm, no foul. So Q&A around that porthole. Does that kind of like make sense? Chelsea's going to run through that because she's working at her own pace. You can too, you know, and that's fast or slow, stop or go. Exactly where you need to be is where you are. When you say to me, Vicky, I'm so behind, I'm going, compared to what? You know, when do you want to finish your studies? How much time have you got available to do that? I mean, I'm as an MD who's ADH, I will often go impossible deadlines and I leave it all to the last minute. That's my study style. I wait till I'm under pressure. I tell myself I work really well under pressure, and then I create pressure so that I do the work. Now, is that a good way to go about it? Probably not, but do I kind of know any other way? And can I get through it that way? I do, but I am not a person that seems to be able to just go, you know what, I'm going to do 2 hours every day. But tell me what your style is. Like we study, who picks up their study every day and does a little bit? What kind of students are you? Chelsea, you do? Yeah. Lillian, you
I
do?
have like certain days of the week I dedicate to.
Okay, great. So with Cert 4, it says between 7
No,
and 12.
I do about like 4 hours 4 times a week.
Okay, yep,
Yeah.
that's perfect. 12 hours is a really good number for a Cert 4. It really is 20 hours for a diploma, so it's 3 hours every day, a couple of times a week. That's great. I study when my 2-year-old is having a nap. Does your 2-year-old nap? Shannon, does it ever go to sleep? I hope so for you. So look, can it be done on less than 12? Yeah. If you're a speed reader and some of this is familiar to you, by all means, you absolutely can. But it takes me just as long, even though that's my study pattern. I don't get through it faster. It's just how I do it. And I know that about myself, and I let it go. It's like, that's how I work. It's how I'm wired. It serves me. If it didn't serve me, then I would not do it. I'd come at it another way. But does it work? It does. But it doesn't mean it'll work for you. So you've got to find your own style around that and know that you've got some support to do that. But that just depends on everybody. And however you do that is up to you. So what I'd like to do next is to just give you a bit of an overview of the content for this. Now, my PowerPoint slides are definitely going to look different to your PowerPoint slides. You will get a copy of these. Mine are created simply for the purpose of our class, our live classes, but you will get the full set of, sorry, just open that up, make that a full page. Slowly I will. You make that a little bigger for us. Perfect. Okay, so, whoops. Sorry, let me just move that line out of the way. I think that should look okay your end. So the unit being CHCMHS011, which stands for Assess and Promote. So just assess it and promote social, emotional, and physical well-being with our clients. That is how we describe mental health. Everyone has one. So I'd like to do, or hand it over to someone in our class if they would like to do the acknowledgement to country. Have I got anyone who would like to do that for us tonight?
I can do it.
Thank you.
In the spirit of reconciliation, Hayter Institute of Education acknowledges the traditional custodian of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, and community. We recognize Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people as the first inhabitants of this nation and the traditional custodian of the land on which we work, live, and study. We express our gratitude for the sharing of this land our sorrow for the personal, spiritual, and cultural costs of the sharing, and hope that we may move forward together in harmony and in the spirit of healing. We pay our respect to all First Nation people and acknowledge elder, past, present, and emerging.
Thank you, Zainab. Okay. Our little bit of housekeeping, cameras on, but we've spoken about that. It's an adult room, so I want you to feel really comfortable. If you're a smoker or a vapor, just turn your camera off. While we're on camera, don't do that. Break times, sorry guys, I'm absolutely terrible at that. Please manage that for yourself. I'll give you a break, but I try and cram everything in if I can, and then from 8 o'clock we do a little bit more of our practical side of things, and if you're then happy to, then you can step out. Then you will still get the recording and the full recording. So till 7, a 10-minute break there, and then 8, another 10-minute break. But look, it just doesn't go like that in our classes, because I kind of work everybody fairly hard, and you guys have got to come in and out of this space. But we run from 6 till 9 p.m. If we are doing class communication, we use that icon on the bottom. We put our hand up. This is a pretty big class, so we do kind of need that. Respectful relationships, I've spoken about that. Keep your microphones on mute in case we are recording, because it will pick up a lot of background noise. Be kind to yourself, and then be mindful that if there's a trigger, any of the conversation, and it doesn't have to be big or a unit where it's around some of those really complex things. Any small thing can be triggering for anyone who has an adverse reaction, because it reminds them of something. Okay, so vicarious trauma, it may not have happened to us, but hearing someone's story is also a trigger. You need to be really careful on how you care for yourself. If you don't look after yourself, it's harder to go and look after others. And self-care is very important in this. We'll do a self-reflection with our role play tonight as well, and I'll show you how to unpack that, both as the person sitting in the chair being the client, and also for the person who's doing the session. So my slides are designed for you, just a bit of an overview of session 1, I hope. Oh, yeah. So some self-awareness, some therapeutic approaches, things like Kessler's theory, which is the K10, which is if you go to your GP, but you can get a K10 online, and it asks you a series of up to 35 questions. And if you're over a certain number, it means that you might be eligible to go over under Medicare and have 6 free sessions, so that you need to be referred by a GP. But it does kind of tell you. Same with Black Dog, they have one online. Beyond Blue, they have one they do online. YB Blue is the youth Beyond Blue. They also have one online. So this is something that I'm going to get you to explore, with that extra that you do your own research. Developing a plan, and then everybody is different. We feel it differently. Even our clients will say, where do you feel it when you're feeling really stressed? And I feel it in my stomach, or I feel it in my head. How will I know that you're stuck? Well, I'll go quiet, or I'll get really loud and I start smashing things up. We don't know. So everybody is different. And then what are the things that say we are physically well, which is not just our body, it's our emotional, our social well-being, our physical and our mental health, and our sexual health as well, and making sure that we have a good understanding of that for our clients. Your assessments, you've got a quiz, which is Q&As. Task 2 is a role play Mary, which we'll cover tonight. So Chelsea knew where I was headed, which is great. And then task 3 and task 4 are also role plays. We are in this unit for 3 weeks. This is week 1 and session 1. So an overview is I wanted to cover what we are doing in our unit, which we have done that. I will ask you for your homework between now and next week to do a little bit around a journal entry. I'd like you to do that at the end of your session, just to take some time and write down some notes. That can be, I've kept a journal for 27 years. I didn't start when I started. I didn't really know the value of that, but for 27 years, I have kept a journal and I write in it every day and I unpack it, because you've got 600 words a minute running around in your head. And if you've got lots of other people's words as well, this will do you in if you don't dump some of that somewhere. We do it in our file notes, but our file notes are a statement of fact and they can be subpoenaed by a court. A journal, still de-identify, but just draw a line down the middle. I started with fancy ones now. I would just buy a bundle of 10 cheap exercise books, and I draw a line down the middle, almost to the bottom. And on one side, I put a positive sign, and the other side, I put a negative side, sign of the column. In my positive, I write down what went well today, and that can be anything. And then I write down what I could do differently, and that's in my negative side. And then along the bottom, I'll write down things because I like patterns. I'll write down it was cloudy, or it's windy, or I drank 8 glasses of water, or I felt really rushed, or, you know, my workload is bigger than what I've got. I just like to write it down and acknowledge it and go, okay, well, I've dealt with that. Which bits are important? Which bits are in my control? Which bits aren't? It's just a very good practice to get into. How do I get rid of that? Now, some of us will do professional supervision, or you may have a line manager where you can debrief and bounce that around. And I'll demonstrate that with Chelsea tonight. Let's talk about Mary afterwards. And then Mary will say, and then Chelsea will say as well. I'll give you the whole process around that. So that's your reflection activity. You could enter into a journal. I encourage you to do that. It's one of the greatest practitioner skills. De-identify, never put in a client's name in case someone else picks that book up. Facilitate a prompt, you know, that's for me to be able to say what inspired you. And our newbies, I actually asked you that at the beginning of our class, and you shared that with the group. So you'll have a better understanding about what your role is as a youth worker, non-clinical, around mental health. So understanding mental health is, you know, GPs, psychologists, occupational therapists, even speech therapists, behavioural therapists, school guidance officers, anyone that's gone on and done uni will have a clinical approach. We as youth workers do not work in that clinical space, but you may work very closely with a clinician, the GP, or it might be the psychologist. So we look at techniques that establish trust and facilitate. We are often the ones that will refer a young person to those clinicians. We do the support planning. We work with them individually. We make sure that we're culturally safe. We have to be aware. We have to have cultural competency and considerations, and not just make assumptions. And then crisis intervention, your skills to respond to emergency situations effectively. So we are first responders, and Cert 4 in youth work is subject matter expertise. So if someone wants a general qualification, they may go Cert 4 community services, which is a little bit of everything. Youth work makes you in a specialty area, high demand, and only youth workers know that. I'll talk to you a little bit more about that as we get towards the end of our unit in the 3 weeks. Your reflection will be about brainstorming what you saw that happened for Chelsea and give some feedback there. I want that peer review. And then what outcome would you feel most confident in achieving? I think I could do this, or I think I'm not ready for that yet. That's okay. That's just a reflection activity. So you should have a better understanding of what's required of you to be completing this unit with your studies with HADA. I will get these slides sent out for you as well. So don't worry about copying them or anything. I'll make sure you've got them. So you've got compliance where you've got to be both legally and ethically compliant. You need to continue with your studies. Every youth worker, it isn't get your quals and that's it. Every org has their own. You'll need to keep accurate records of statements of fact because they can be subpoenaed for a court. You'll collaborate working with families and communities and other professionals. You'll struggle legally and ethically from time to time with, if the police say, have you got so-and-so with you? Who do you share that with? Is that under the Privacy Act? Do you have to? These are some of the things that come up often. And it depends on who you're working for and what their protocol is with that in their organisation. But when I originally started tonight, I talked about working inside your guidelines within the scope of your role. It'll be in your position description and it'll be in your policies and procedures. Myself, I don't share that information. If police called and said, do you have so-and-so staying in your accommodation? I'll say, let me get back to you. Have you got a direct number? And if I can find that young person, then I will. But if the police turned up, we could not deny them access any more than we would deny the ambulance who are there to do a wellbeing check. But it is not my job to confirm or deny whether someone is in our accommodation program. They have the right to that privacy. And that's the police's job to find out more information to do that. It's not my job to do their job. And the young person needs to know that they can trust me. And I can say, but if I can get hold of them, can I bring them down to you in the station? Will you be there in the morning? Or they'll be there till 4 in the afternoon. I'll say, if I can get hold of them, I will, but I definitely will try and get hold of them for you. And that's it. That's enough. That's it. That's you working collaboratively with them. But it depends on the scope of your role. So reflect on what compliance means for you and collaboration, and then how you would do that as a youth worker. So for you, that may not be a dilemma. You might be happy to work closely with the police like that, but your primary client is a young person. And when you did your intake, you said, everything you say to me here is private and confidential. You do not have authority or consent to share their information. In fact, you would be in breach of the 1988 Privacy Act if you did. And so what do you think is the most critical part of the sector standards requirements in youth work, and create a forum to lead your insights? Okay, so that's that bit there. Georgia, something to add?
No, sorry, I just joined and my microphone was on. Sorry.
Oh, good. Okay, any questions about that? Is anyone uncomfortable with where they sit with that? Is that going to be a dilemma? Are you thinking, oh, there's going to be some will I, won't I kind of moments in there? It'll depend on the role that you've got. So what I want to do right now is I want you to jump into some brief groups. I've got 712. And I want you to just jump into some smaller groups. And while you're in that group, I want you to find 2 mental health diagnoses. Now, we already know Mary's bipolar. Here's a clue. Just do a little bit of search on that. Use a credible source, something like a government agency or the Department of Health in your state or territory. So I want you to go into your breakout room, just 10 minutes together, do a meet and greet, and then select 2. You're going to have to look up this on your phone or website, or one of you, and agree with that. And then we're going to come back as a group, and you're going to be, you're going to be just sharing what some of those are by dropping them into the breakout room chat area when you come back. I think that gives us small groups. Just accept and go into the breakout room. Keep an eye on the time. We'll all be back by 7:25. Just 2 mental health diagnoses. Did you guys see your invite? Perfect. Maddie, did you see yours? Wonderful. Tara, are you right? Do you want me to pop you in a room? Did you want to go into a breakout room, Matara?
Oh, hi.
Hi. Did you want me to pop you in a breakout room?
Oh, yes, if you can. Oh, it's my first class tonight, so
Yeah, no, I should be able to.
yeah.
She says. Let me just see if I can. I think I can. Oh, okay. Some reason it won't let me. Did you see it invite you?
Hold on. Let me try again.
I'll just put you in the wait room and then I'll let you in again and just see if that works. Okay. Just admitted you. Just while everybody's in their breakout room, because we don't record those, I've just moved somebody over in there. Just bear with me and I'm going to share with you and do a couple of more slides just to be able to guide us through that space. So I am recording, but everybody's in their breakout room and they'll only be there for 10 minutes. But I just want to give you some background. And of course, this is also going out to our learners. Wonderful. So we are here. Great. So I've gone through that we've got 4 assessment tasks. And I've broken down what you're doing. So our learners are currently at the moment just doing a little bit of research around what are 2 mental health disorders that we may present with. In our role play in task 2, it actually asks us about one client and they've been diagnosed with bipolar. So you'll need to have a bit of an understanding around each of those that you're working with, at least with the clients we give you. So case studies are a real world scenario. The names have been changed, but these all come from sector. So your role plays are about getting your communication and your strategies of working with your clients, and then some feedback, doing some review, checking in, are you happy, making sure that your clients know, if they're not happy with you, would they like another worker? It's okay to be asking those things. How are we going? Where are we up to? And are you happy with how we're progressing? Is this what you were hoping that you would get out of this support? And you may develop a plan, but the review is for you to go, well, maybe that was the plan at the beginning, but we're changing the plan now. Consider what the case studies ask of you. And then also you're going to be demonstrating that. Tonight we've got someone who's going to be generous enough to do a role play, which is fantastic. And then later, I believe we have someone jumping in who wants to do one from a previous unit. Still relevant, even if it's not the unit that you're working on or ready to do, because we assess these same exact skills no matter what unit. It's about your practitioner skills. And the study and the knowledge comes from the unit and the information that you've got in your learner's guide. So here we have career pathways for youth workers and opportunities to work in counselling and youth focused. Where it says social work, it doesn't mean social worker, it means working in social services. So a Cert 4 in youth work can get you in an employment office, working with young people to help them overcome barriers. It can have you in a youth residential setting where it's a requirement. Some of the funding, it's a minimum requirement that you have a certificate for in youth work or very close to completing it. Some people can get work. Some people are already working and they're formalising their knowledge and their skills. This is the most recent certificate for in youth work that you're doing, and the work that we're bringing to you is current. So if there's a link in your learner's guide that it has expired, you only need to contact our learner support officers. It'll mean that the resource is older, and that's when the qualification unit came out. But our space, the one that you work in or will be working in and I work in, it's ever changing. So we know that even a law can be changed, especially in the state that I'm living in. They're wanting to introduce adult time for an adult crime with young people as young as 12. So what's an adult crime? You know, and the law doesn't differentiate with age. The law will recognise a young person as a young person. So often you'll have public perception, you'll have what the media will do and impress upon the rest of the community, and you will also have political parties who drive public policy. But law can change, but the magistrate is the one who knows the law themselves. So a government can say, we will do that if it's serious and someone wants to apply that as a public prosecutor. But most times, every young person up until the age of 24 will be viewed as a person still developing. And if they are a young person that has had trauma in their background, then they may be stuck as a 13 or a 14-year-old, even if they are presenting as a 24-year-old before the courts. So it's something to consider what happened to our client, because you may be the person that is writing something to support them, that it's a letter for the magistrate. So when you get to closer to the end of that, you'll have a better understanding around what can I do? And so what we're doing right now in our breakout room is we're just working in smaller groups about recommending for different credible sources also for people who may have a mental health issue or a diagnosis. So we're asking for 2 just to be able to help. And then we'll work with one more, which will be around what tools will we use as a non-clinical worker. I briefly spoke about Kessler's K10. Where do we find those tools? We'll get them on a very credible source. I'll talk to you about evidence-based data, and that's very important as well. So just a little bit about what we're about to head into. Role plays, they're client-based, and we use compassion, connection, and collaboration with our clients. It can be daunting recording yourself, so don't let imposter syndrome stop you from role playing. Gain your confidence to reduce your fears. The more you do, the better you get. But look, everything is easy when you know how. Once you've got a few under your belt, you'll feel more confident. And just some little tips around that. You know, if you read from a script, we'll send it back. So I encourage you not to look down the camera, but to look to the left and put some sticky note on the side. We're working on the screen of a laptop. Just the points where it says your assessor will be looking for. Write some of that down. You just cannot read from your screen as a script, because you wouldn't do that if you're with a client. So it is a simulated experience. What would you do if a client came in that was Mary, who told you she's been working from home, she's feeling isolated, in the past she's used a substance to manage those highs and lows, as well. And she's disengaged from some of her connections, and even her business is starting to be less and less because of how she's struggling. So she's reaching out because she wants a youth worker to support her. So you can see I've got role play as the acronym here. R stands for respect the client experience. O is for own your professional tone when you step into that space. If it says, I'm going to listen non-judgmentally, what does that sound like? What does that look like? Listen with purpose to understand, not to answer. Empathize before advising. Pause before you speak. What you don't say is of equal value. Lean into real life scenarios. That means make it authentic for yourself and get the person playing the client to be that as well. Ask open-ended questions. They are your who, what, how, when, where, and why. All your open-ended questions start like that. And you are learning progress over perfection. So everyone will be coming back from their breakout rooms soon. I'll stop sharing there. They're there. So that's great. Mohammed, question. Hand up. Right, I better let it's the same as everyone's networking furiously in these breakout rooms, having a good yarn.
Yes, we had a very good one.
That's good. Excellent. Well, I want you to share. So, and I will give everybody a chance to have a break. And then Chelsea will have 15 minutes in a role play as well. Hey, Vinny. Oh, you look very tropical where you are. Here I am wearing.
Yeah, I was off camera with the big group, and I was on camera with Nate. Now I need to turn off my camera.
You're good. You're good. Okay, wonderful. So can I hear from some of our rooms? What were the two mental health diagnoses, and do you have even a snapshot around them? Bipolar.
Room 7 did the depression and anxiety.
Okay. Yep. What did you learn about that student?
They're both the most common mental illness and the most overlooked.
Yeah. Do you think people keep that to themselves, or it's misdiagnosed?
It's just because it's so common, people just think you're either being sad or just worried too much.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really important. And depression and anxiety is one coin, both sides. So you cannot have anxiety without depression, and you can't have depression without anxiety. So those two things, yeah, I absolutely agree. And it is 1 in 4 young people who experience mental health issues.
Yeah, and it's actually
1 in 5
men face it a lot more.
Yeah.
It's increased by 25% in men.
Yeah.
Additional data. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Stu. Lillian, your group?
I can't remember what breakup number we were, but I was with Zainab and Paul, and we were just talking about how they misdiagnose bipolar. So we're thinking ADHD is one of them. That's a huge one that sometimes they misdiagnose bipolar with ADHD. And then the second one was autism. And because they're all on a spectrum.
They are, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. So I think a neuro-safe environment for everybody. So we talk about neurological pathways, the programming that we were told as children, and what we believe to be real may no longer serve us as we're older. It may be that we struggle if someone thinks that they're dumb and they don't get certain subjects at school, and that's reinforced by the school and it's reinforced at home. That young person may believe that to be true. Whereas what would it look like, I wonder, if someone had tutoring and they showed them the trick to unlock some of that? And it's like, oh, so I'm not dumb. I can do it. I just needed to be shown another way. That's the work that you do. And who says you have to be really good at that if that isn't part of your goal? But if it is part of your goal, you'll go through that reward and pain. You'll go through that. I want to get there, but I'm going to have to go through a bit of pain to get there. Or I'm actually going to shift my goal. That's your goal for me, not my goal for me. And that's where that person-centric comes from. That's great. Thanks, Lillian. Yeah, and you're right. Like bipolar used to get called manic depression. So a manic depressive, like really high or really low. But yes, definitely misdiagnosed there. Anybody else from their room? Anything different?
I can speak for
Thanks,
two.
Hugh.
We didn't go that deep into things, to be honest, but we just kind of collected a few ideas.
Okay, share
And one
those.
of them, I suppose, we were discussing was PTSD as a mental health disorder. And OCD and OCPD, because we're talking about personality disorders, and we were looking into that.
Yeah.
And came across OCPD, which I didn't realize was different to OCD. Because so apparently obsessive compulsive personality disorder is about perfectionism, control, and those sorts of ideas, whereas OCD is more in anxiety based with intrusive thoughts and repetitive behaviors, compulsions to kind of combat that. So that was really interesting, I found. Yeah, those were two of the many that we
That's great.
listed.
Yeah. So the more you learn about that, so you may have a curiosity to go a little further about what might be some of those signs. It helps you with your intake and assessment, not for a diagnosis, but just to get a better understanding. What's that like for you with our open-ended questions? What does that look like? How does that get in the way for you to be able to do some of these things? That's all we're really asking for. We just want to be able to find out how that may or may not impact them reaching their goals or reaching their full potential. Mel.
Will room 1, we did PTSD and substance use disorder. PTSD is a mental health condition that can develop after experiencing or witnessing a traumatic event.
Yeah.
And substance use disorder is using too much alcohol or other drugs, leading to problems with health and everyday functioning. And I've just read that 1 in 20 Australians have an addiction to substance abuse problems.
Okay. And what year was that study done? And so this is where we get into our evidence-based data. You can say that in your written work, 100%. Now you've got to say where you got that information from, what year that was done, and where you captured the data. So we can say something, we can say anything, but where is your evidence to support that claim is always what you've got to do in your written work. Yeah. So we say, would you find it interesting to know that 1 in 20? So Mel, I am interested. Tell me where you got that information from.
Google. Finding help for curing substance use in mental health.
Okay, so where's the site? A government site, a health site? It can only be credible if it comes from a site. Dr. Google is helpful, keeps people awake at night, but it's not evidence-based data. So we look in it. If you get it from a book, then you say this book published and chapter something, paragraph, whatever. You must make sure that you put your evidence at the bottom of your work. If you make a claim, you must back that claim up. You work as a professional, so your work is evidence-based data, not like my Aunt Mary told me 3 cousins back, and that's definitely it. And so you believe that to be true. It's hard because your clients believe that to be true, where they're told, you're just like your father or you're just like your mother. What imprint have they been told? And oftentimes that's not been in a positive light. It's
Yeah.
because someone has labelled them, and labels belong on jars, not on young people.
Exactly.
So, anybody else got a different one that they want? Ross, what were you doing in your room? What were you guys up to?
We looked at anxiety and depression as well, and I was with Pearl and Ben, and we pretty much come up with the same thing, that it's very common and often overlooked.
Yeah.
We also spent a fair bit of time just introducing ourselves and shooting the shit, so to speak. So
love that. No, that's
Yeah.
great. That's your
Yeah.
intake. That's your connection. And if you can do that in breakout rooms, you can do that when it comes to a role play. I love that you did that.
Yeah.
Anybody else? We good? Okay, all right, wonderful. So look, I've got 7:34, almost 7:35. Let's take a break, come back at 7:45. Who is going to be your Mary, Chelsea?
You?
Okay.
I don't mind.
I can be. I don't want to get in the way of anybody else, though. Who's saying, pick me, pick me?
I don't know if anyone else has looked at it.
Now.
Who said
No, I
that?
don't know if anyone else has looked at it. I don't want to pressure anyone.
I haven't even looked at it yet. I only just got it probably 2 hours
10 minutes
ago.
ago. Yeah.
I haven't even opened
I
it.
don't even know who Mary is.
Yeah.
I know she's quite contrary, but you know.
Love that, Tony. I'm happy to be your Mary, Chelsea. So, yeah. So let's take 10 minutes. You guys stretch, hydrate. We're going to jump straight back in, and we're going to work with and just the assessment, just the initial meet and greet. How much of Mary do you want to do, Chelsea? You up to the review and you want to go the whole way through?
Tell me how I'm going with part B. And
If
then
I start crying, stop. So no, it's all good.
if I do part B and you think we should do part C, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody here would really value being able to see task 2 in action. So that's great. So I'll be your Mary, but I also have to be your assessor. But I'm going to see if Vinny is around. And some of you guys, I want your peer review as well. Okay. So take 10 minutes and we'll be back at 7:45. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Right.
Okay, so we're recording. Chelsea, I'll let you introduce the unit, the scenario, and this will count towards an actual assessment for you if you're comfortable.
Yeah, thank you. So welcome everyone. Today we're doing CHCMHS011, assess and promote social, emotional, and physical well-being. We are looking into the role play with Mary. She was struggling quite a lot with her recent, her diagnosis of bipolar. She's feeling very disconnected and isolated to the world around her and really struggling to find ways to reconnect. So she'll be coming in today and we're just going to have a chat about goals, strategies, what's been going on for her and how she feels she can be best supported. Okay, so welcome Mary. Thank you for coming in today. How are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Yeah, not having the best time at the minute, but that's okay.
Yeah. I want to hear all about it and anything you feel comfortable talking to me about today. But just before we start, I just want to let you know that everything we talk about is private and confidential, unless there's a risk of harm to you, or someone else that comes up in our conversation. As well as sharing information, the only time I do that is if I've gotten your consent, and that could be for things like referrals or services that you might be interested in that you feel would best benefit you. But along the way, we'll talk about that, and I'll let you know when that's needed, or signatures and stuff like that. So,
okay,
just wanted to let you know.
Okay, no problem. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, tell me a bit more about what's been going on for you.
Well, I guess the main thing is I've recently been diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just kind of struggling with that a little bit. I'm feeling quite disconnected, and like isolated, and I'm kind of struggling with how this kind of my new kind of diagnosis is going to affect how I am in the world, and yeah, I'm just kind of losing grip on my connection to things and people a bit. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No, I understand. I understand where you're coming from with how you're feeling, and it must be a big thing for you to be here today. And I just want to acknowledge the fact that you're here. It's
yeah,
definitely a step in a good direction for you.
yeah. Thank you.
Why don't we focus a bit about what's good in your life? What are some strengths? What things do you like doing?
Yeah.
Do you work? Stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I really like being active. Uh, I haven't been doing it so much at the moment. Just I'm feeling quite, you know, because my emotions and my mood can vary so drastically. Um, I'm kind of scared to be in social settings a bit. But I usually really like being like playing sports and things like that. I also like I love being creative. I actually kind of do some work as a freelance graphic designer. So that's kind of one of my main passions, and I guess that at the moment I can do because I can kind of do it just on my own.
Yeah.
Because I am a bit scared to kind of go into kind of places to do work. So at the moment that's serving me. But yeah, I love drawing and things like that. So yeah, I usually like hanging out with I used to love being with my family, but um, I was brought up Christian, and but I'm feeling a bit disconnected from my faith at the moment and feeling a bit disconnected from them. So I'm struggling with that a bit as well, but usually I used to get a lot of support from that, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Sorry, it's hard. I'm feeling disconnected.
yeah.
Um, do you have many other support networks around you other than church, Christianity? What other supports do you have?
Honestly, not too much. I've got quite a small like friendship group that I've kind of been distancing myself from a bit lately. Um, and yeah, I was in a relationship too, but it it got a bit bad there. So I did leave it because it was kind of becoming toxic and looked maybe like it was being dangerous. So anyway, I've got myself out of that. So um, that's good. But without that, support from a partner, I'm feeling a bit on my own.
Yeah.
So not really, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I know you might feel like you haven't got a lot of strength right now, considering all that's going on for you, but it's very admirable. Like you've left that situation, given how hard life is already for you. Um, how about would you want to reconnect to your friends or maybe like a Christianity group? Is that something you'd be looking for?
Um, I think I think at the moment I'm kind of questioning things with my faith a bit. So I
Okay.
think maybe I need a bit of space from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Perhaps. But yeah, I mean, I know I need friends and I know that would help me. It's just I'm a bit scared with the diagnosis and things, and I've had some, I've been drinking a bit, and
Yeah.
when I get into kind of manic states, I kind of act a bit rash. So I've been, worried about being around old friends or people like that.
Yeah.
I've maybe been around putting myself in with bad people, um, but I know it would probably help me. It's just doing it,
Yeah.
getting there.
Look, I did read a little bit of information that I was given before you coming in today.
Yeah.
That I received from another service that provided information, and did touch base a little bit about your substance use. Is that current, or is it something that you've not done as much, or like lately, or?
Yeah. Well, because I've been on medication, I was advised to, try not to be on it. So I am trying to cut back. I have to admit, in the way I've been feeling, I have been drinking a little bit, but definitely not like I was. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you up to date with like medical checks and like physical, like the GP
Yeah.
overall health check?
Yeah, that stuff I'm on top of. So they kind of know where I'm at. Yeah, yeah. The last time I went in, I mean, I kind of was aware, but I've kind of gained some weight and things like that. Um, but I'm still quite, in pretty good condition. So, yeah, I'm on top of that for the minute.
Yeah, good. Look, can you identify just some things that we could do to help moving forward to, get you reconnected? Is there any like a family member or something? I know you disconnected from your parents, but is there anyone else that
Yeah, my
could help you
sister.
throughout this?
I could maybe reach out to my sister.
Yeah.
I've been avoiding her, but I think that's just because I'm a bit worried about, judgment within the family and things. But um, I know we kind of connect on how we like, faith. As I've said, I'm scared a bit detaching myself, but it is important to both of us. So I know she understands. So maybe I could talk to her about it a bit
Yeah.
more.
Could she be someone like a support person for you throughout our
Yeah,
support
maybe,
to do together?
yeah.
You can pull her
She'd
in,
probably
yeah.
be up for that. Yeah, I could probably reach out to her. Yeah.
Okay. What are some things or like, do you need me to help you look into services that we could connect you to, to start helping you connect back to the community slowly and comfortably?
Yeah, I guess the main thing now at the moment, yeah, it's just reconnecting, like you say. So maybe if you could help me kind of access some like community sport or something,
Yeah.
or something like that, just to kind of get myself
Yeah.
back in
Look,
a
well, the
little
next
bit.
time we meet, I could have, a list of local soccer groups and stuff like that. You said you're into soccer.
Yeah, that'd be
Um,
great. Yeah.
yeah, where we can register you and stuff like that if you're interested still in doing that.
Okay, yeah.
And how about something like a NA support group? Like-minded
Yeah.
people, stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's a very non-judgmental environment. I feel like
Yeah,
it's a good way to ease you back in.
that could be a good idea. Yeah, I think yeah, just yeah, feeling maybe a little bit disconnected from people I know because they don't know what I'm going through. So that might be really good.
Yeah, just share stories, find people, that you resonate with. Of course, we don't resonate with everyone.
Yeah, of
It's
course. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And when you're ready, we can look into, reconnecting with local church group or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I might. Yeah. I would like for it to be a part of my life. I just.
Yeah. Just no rush, no rush.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah.
is when you're ready and regain your life back in a way that is comfortable for you, and I'm here to best support that for you, whoever that is.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you. I do feel supported. So
Yeah,
I
good.
appreciate it.
How about, as I said, baby steps, reaching out to your old friendship group, not old, but the ones you've kind of
Yeah.
disconnected from, and just see where they're at, and
Yeah.
as a
Okay.
check-in could lead back into, some good supports from them.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I'll try to make an effort to reach out to a few and also my sister, like you said.
Yeah, awesome. Even if she wants to come along to these
Okay.
meet.
She could do that?
Yeah, yeah. If you feel
Okay.
more comfortable having a support person go through all of this with you, that is totally okay.
Okay. All right. I'll see if she wants to that, but I think that would probably make me feel a bit more comfortable. So.
That's the main thing. We want you comfortable and feeling safe.
Okay. All right.
So throughout our meet today, I've just jotted down some notes on, how you're feeling, what's been going on for you, where you want help.
Yeah, I saw that. Is anyone else going to see those, or is it just?
No, it's just for me for future recording, stuff like that, so I can look back on them and we can look back on them together and just see, your progress, your strengths, how much you've built on them and your resilience and all of that.
Okay. Hopefully we get there.
Yeah. Baby
Okay.
steps. I just want to, acknowledge again how good it is you come in today and chatted with me.
Okay, yeah, it's been great to talk to you. So
Yeah.
thank
So,
you.
did you want to meet again the same time next week?
Yeah, sure, that works for me. Yeah, I'll see if my sister can come in. So.
Yeah. You just get back to me on my number I texted you on yesterday.
Yeah.
Let me know if that suits, and if it doesn't, we can, reschedule to whatever suits you guys.
Okay, no worries. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mary. Chat soon.
All right, thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.
Textbook, I'll give you feedback later. I'd like you to keep going.
Oh, jump straight back in. Okay.
Yeah, I want you to do the review.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't looked at
Mary,
that yet.
how are you? Welcome back.
Hey, thank you so much for having me back again. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. What's been going on? What are some new things? What are some different things?
Well, thanks to you, we talked about looking at the soccer team. So, I know you said you were going to find some stuff, but I actually managed to find one
Wow.
and got to my first practice. So that's great.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Good on you.
Yeah, and yeah, it's been a bit better. I reconnected with some people and some friends, and yeah, I'm feeling a little bit less isolated. So so yeah, things are going okay.
Awesome. Mary, I just that's amazing. The fact that you've done that, on your own behalf, just shows
Yeah.
how much strength you've actually got and
Well, speaking
determination.
to you definitely helped me a lot. So I really appreciate
Thank
it.
you. To remind you, everything's private and confidential that we talk about. That hasn't changed, neither with the consent. And
worries.
my record keeping will also remain private and confidential.
No problem at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you I know all the good stuff's been going on, and I loved hearing that. Has been any setbacks or any changes to how you've been feeling?
Well, just a bit of an adjustment. I've been with we've had some adjustments to the medication.
Yeah.
So that's been a bit of a, obviously it takes time to figure that out. So it's been ups and downs, because I've been having some migraines
Yeah.
but I think it's starting to maybe get a little bit better.
Yeah. Have
But
you chatted to your GP about that?
yeah, they've been helping me adjust it. Yeah.
Great.
So, but it has been kind of, yeah, it's making me sometimes, get a bit out of whack, but
Yeah.
I know it's just going to take some time, to get there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
How about some mindfulness and tools that you set up for yourself to help regulate when you are in your social settings? Have you found any tools been useful to you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just to regulate, I've learned some breathing techniques, and I just learned to kind of take myself aside, and those have really helped a little bit. I still get quite overwhelmed a little bit,
Yeah.
and just really kind of, it's just going to take some time, I think,
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I feel like um, even just coming here, like it's taken quite a toll on me mentally.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when I grew up, we didn't really talk about mental health and things like that. So even just being open with my sister and some friends,
Yeah.
and being honest, I think that it's really terrifying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's begun. So I guess that's what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just remember how far you've actually come and what you've done for yourself. And I know that's so as you just said, it's not really something you've talked about throughout your life.
Yeah.
So coming to terms with it, and dealing with it in a way that's best for you, that is just amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Are you ready or wanting to go back to, looking into reconnecting with your church, or is that something you've not wanted?
I think, I mean, maybe. I think I still, I think I said to you last time that I do want it as a part of my life. I think I've been getting a lot of strength from being back around people, and like the soccer teams really helped.
Yeah.
But the faith was always, really a sense, kind of, it gave me a sense of strength and support in this world. So having lost touch with that, maybe I would like to, maybe if you could, I don't know if you have any, I don't know how to get back there, but
Suggestions? Yeah.
yeah.
Is your sister also religious?
Yeah, she's similar to me, where like we both obviously grew up that way.
Yeah.
She's probably more, she's continued the practice more than I have at the minute, maybe just because of some of the things I went through. But she, yeah, she's still, has the faith in her own way.
Yeah. Could she be a good way, just to slowly reintegrating back into it, going to, her
Yeah,
like
she did
church
suggest it.
community groups with her, just
Yeah,
that comfort there. If it gets too much, you can leave.
yeah, you might be right. Maybe soon. I
Yeah.
think there's been a lot of new stuff happening and a lot of new people. Not that, I know they're, a kind of group that I used to know, but maybe soon. But yeah, maybe even just going once or twice with her might be a good idea.
Look, you know what? Maybe even staying obviously Christianity, but a new church group that people don't know you. You can start fresh. You don't feel like you're being judged.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, you
Still an
know what?
option.
I hadn't even thought of that, to be honest.
Yeah. I could look into local ones that you haven't participated in yet. So everyone has
Yeah.
a way of even thinking of anything about you besides the fact that you're here today with them.
That's actually a good idea. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I think when I think of Christian, like, my faith, I instantly apply it to my church. But
Yeah.
but that's a really good idea.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the next time we meet, I can, do some more looking into other places that are around locally.
Yeah.
Just depends how far you want to travel.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. How's work going?
Yeah, I think that's the one thing that's kind of really stressing me out at the minute. Because I think I said to you that I've been, just freelance because I'm kind of struggling to the idea of having a proper job. But it's kind of slowed down quite a bit, and I'm not getting as much work coming in. And now that I live on my own, I'm really kind of struggling with the anxiety of, bills and things like that. So yeah, that's definitely stressing me out. But I know I just need to maybe work harder or something. I don't know.
Well, is it something you still want to do? Or maybe you could, I could support you in, um, job places, we could similar job but a
Yeah.
different, especially I know you work from home, so perhaps
Yeah,
same job but different location. It really helps
maybe.
with socializing even.
Yeah, maybe now that we're getting a kind of handle on my medication and stuff,
Yeah.
and I might be able to get in the world.
Look, these are all just ideas that not have tos or whatever. It's something you can go back and, go home and think about.
Yeah, Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely struggling with that. So maybe if there's, yeah, if you can help me with that, that's probably the most pressing issue at the minute. So yeah, maybe if you can give me yeah, I don't know, some places to look for jobs or
Yeah,
something like that.
I'm get you with your consent, of course, linked into like a job seeking
Oh yeah, okay.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a LinkedIn, so maybe.
Yeah. So how about next time we get together, we'll have like a few job places around
Yeah.
and some different church groups. See if any of them take your fancy, like the
Yeah.
location, all of that.
Okay, yeah, maybe with some young people, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes the churches can be a bit outdated. So
Yeah, that's
if
fine.
we can
We'll
look into that.
definitely make sure we look into that.
Yeah, okay.
All
That'd
right.
be
So
amazing, yeah.
yeah, keep doing good things, Mary. And when did you want to check in next? Would you go another week or fortnightly
Yeah,
or?
I think maybe if we can meet again in a week, just
Yep.
because this is really stressing me out with work. So if you can help me
Yeah,
with
of
that, and then
course.
maybe once that's settled, it can be a bit, we can
It can
maybe
be
extend
as
it.
frequent or as whatever you need. You let me know.
All
Weekly,
right.
good.
Okay, yeah, that'd be great. So yeah, maybe next
You've got
week.
my number. Any more questions or things pop up that I can look into between now and then, you let me know.
Okay, no worries. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
All right, thank you. Bye.
Bye.
That's great. Well done. Is there another part to that, Chelsea?
Jesus.
No.
She's come, please not.
Oh, you tripped me out then. No, all good.
That's gold. You're a good Mary, Hugh. Very good.
Yes, very good.
Okay, let's get some self-reflection, some feedback. Hugh, what was it like sitting in the chair as Mary?
It's great, yeah. Chelsea was very like understanding and even when I was talking about things that were difficult, she didn't kind of get bogged down in them. She was very like active in what can we do to, you know, lots of ideas about things to help um and yeah, it was never like you should do this. It was just like, yeah, like whatever takes your fancy, you know, we could do this or this. And so that was really supportive and encouraging when I came back and was like some positive things, was just yeah, clearly very happy for Mary. And
Yeah.
yeah, so it was yeah, super supportive and caring. So it's great.
Yeah. So, and you'd be comfortable going back talking
Absolutely, yeah.
to Chelsea as a worker, even
Yeah,
though
definitely.
this was not deep casework, it was about connection, and that was definitely there. I heard a lot of, like I saw all the micro skills, positive reinforcement. You worked with the Alliance Circle, you worked on a wellbeing wheel. With this unit, you absolutely need to know what tools you're working with. So the wellbeing wheel, Chelsea, you hit that, you know, the social side. You linked sport to the social, emotional, and the physical. I noticed you could bring all of those together. I thought that was a really good stepping off point, finding something from the past that she did enjoy doing and to try and bring that forward. But it was more than just the sport and the physical. It was that social connection and getting out. I heard her say a few times, you know, it's a bit hard financially without my partner there. And one of the things with bipolar is it's either all, it's absolutes. And I liked where you were headed with maybe if you're not feeling as motivated, working from home and the work isn't coming in enough for the income. There's also business hubs in areas, and us as youth workers must find out what's out there in our local area. So rather than Mary go completely from home into a job, what unravels for her in the workplace, because she still has her diagnosis and she is on medication, but it's early days. And so what we might look at, is there a way that she could look at part-time work and still keep her side hustle, or maybe change her target group? And those business hubs, especially if you're on Centrelink, you can access that, which means you can go and have a hotspot at a place, chat to people. They can show you the things that you're not really good at doing. And then you can share your skills and help them with their business. It is a very complimentary place, and it means you can go and you can leave, and it kind of forces you out of your home business, but it gets you to connect with others for a purpose. And it's a nice way for someone who's neurodivergent to not be in that all or nothing, yes or no, black or white world as well. So I think that find out what is available. What are the alternatives? Can employment look different for someone who has different needs? To be able to do that as well. I think that would be amazing. To just find out what is in your local area, what else can we do? I liked how you fleshed out that new start with the church as well. You didn't go too deep, and I think if Mary in this case wanted to, she would have raised what stopped that. She skirted around it, and maybe time would unpack that a little bit more. But a new start, and the feedback was good. You know, she said, "Oh, I hadn't actually thought about that." But a new start and a new group, reinventing herself, whatever it was that was happening in the past, whether she feels embarrassed or to go back in or felt judged at that time. We didn't go there because she didn't want you to go there. And I thought there was a lot of safety and respect in that space that you created for Mary as well. I really felt that you had a great approach around that. But tell me what you thought, Chelsea. You prepped for it. What was the gap between what you thought it was going to be like and what it actually was for you?
I felt like there was gonna be a lot more pullback and struggles. But like, I guess with the way I approached it, it made it a bit easier to get results and ways around things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you were working to your plan.
Yeah. And because I did like the assessments and I've done a bit of the other paperwork already, I kind of knew what way I wanted to go down and how to help her.
Yeah. What do you think was her goal coming in? She shared with you
She
her
just needed
priorities.
her connection. She's so disconnected, like her no partner now, obviously in a very isolated and vulnerable state right now. So having like even just her sister, pulling in on her sister and finding ways of what's next. Obviously she's feeling very don't know what's happening next, don't know where to turn, what things can I turn to.
Soft triage you did, that helpless, hopeless, alone. So are you feeling helpless? Are you alone? Is it going back to times that were good and moving forward?
And just identifying what she does have around her, because in a time of being really low, you tend to forget what good things you do have. So just a bit of help reinforcing and pulling in on your own strengths. And I think a lot of this work's been around recovery oriented, and the way I've looked on that is best way someone can help their own recovery and pulling in on resources they've already got.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So can I get some peer review then for Chelsea and Hugh? It's hard to sit in the chair as well as to do that. Chelsea did the heavy end, but it is still hard to sit in there and bring an authentic scenario in. So Hugh, you've softly been assessed in that process just by being the client as well. So I want to thank you for stepping into that space. That's not easy either. So can I get some peer review from your peers?
You sound very professional.
Yeah, professional, great word.
I think she was very relaxed and calm.
Thank you.
I think the same too, Virginia. You were just so calm, and to bring forward what you brought for and got the information out of Hugh / what's her name, Mary. the way that you sort of worked your way around it to get the information that you required or needed was just awesome. It was just like the real thing. You did a really, really good job, both of you.
Tony. Thank you.
Sit there,
Good,
that
good
Chelsea.
job, Mary. That was really realistic, I think. And well, that was for Mary, and for Chelsea as Maria. I think she really did a very good job of showing active listening. Looking at the camera like 100% of the time. Because when I do my role plays, I hope Vicky doesn't notice it in my role plays. I make a script, and what happens is I keep looking at my script. But in your case, that didn't happen, and it made it really, really professional, as they say, and realistic.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Scripts are good, but they're also such a downfall because yeah, you always are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't even read my own script, Chelsea, so
I think it's easier without a script. Just trust your gut, trust your instincts,
Go
and
with the
trust what's
flow.
next.
Yeah. I remember, Vinny, when I started, I used to have a script until I got put out of my comfort zone, and I'm thinking, oh, I don't need this. I can. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Look, I'm reading great feedback, like will definitely bring more confidence to others. So you did that for each other in that space. But I also want to let you know that was textbook. It ticked everything I was looking for with your micro skills, your intentional interviewing questions, the motivational interviewing questions, your open-ended questions. You paused. I watched you deliberately hold back a little. We can get comfortable being uncomfortable in silence. We don't have to fill every space. The timing was right, the flow was there, and it seemed to come to a natural close rather than clock watching and that as well, or a real rush, like I've got to tick, 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 get it all. You can have a client come in and they can't talk. The best they can do is walk in the door. You acknowledge that on 2 separate occasions, just turning up and knowing that was hard to do, that was a big step there. So that was great. And then you paraphrased it and you summarized it perfectly in the first one. I love that. What you had gone over, what you were going to be putting in the plan, what that looked like. Mary checked who else is going to see that. It's yours, only you and I will. This is our plan we're working on together. That was great. Yeah, I've got nothing to add other than high praise for you. That was fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So that's task 2. You have successfully completed that assessment. When you do your document and when I give you the evidence. Now, I do want to say before we get too far, some of you are waiting, Virginia, I know you are waiting and saying, waiting for me to give you a document of evidence. Please email me back so that I can throw that back up instead of 250 emails ago, and just bring it to the top of the list. I've prepped your evidence, but I'm not quite sure. We don't do roll call. So I just need you to flag that I am that person, and I'll have one for you. And I will email that to you so that you can upload it. If there's supporting document like there is with this one, you need to complete that on your own as well. Okay, so that's task 2 of 4 for CHCMHS011. Chelsea, you're done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hugh. And so just by looking at that, can you see the value of doing that with a peer where they've got skin in the game? Because if you were doing this outside of class, you would flip it then. So then Hugh would be Maria and Chelsea would be Mary. So when you're working like that, it's like but Hugh will do it completely different. You know, same
Yeah.
scenario, completely different approach because you're different youth workers. But that's the difference is fine. That's not what we assess you on. We assess you on all those things that I just gave feedback on. So micro skills, open-ended questions. What is it that brings you in today? Even having that background, acknowledging that with Mary. Look, you know, there are some notes there prior. And I just wanted to circle back. Is that information, you know, where we're up today, any changes? What's our stepping off point? Because we don't want our clients to feel like they've got to repeat that story to every single person that they see. You know, it's got to be safe, supported, and supervised. And you are that worker. And those tools, those templates are there for you. The other one is the evaluation form, Chelsea. So you've got your plan.
Yeah.
And then and you're going to do that in task 3, and you're going to do that again in task 4. So I think we've got Tom and one other person. Yeah. So
I'm aiming to do like task 3 next week and 4 the week after.
fabulous. Well, if you guys don't hurry up, Chelsea's just going to rob this room. So, all right, I'm just going to hit pause here. So just in wrapping up, we've had a rich conversation, a couple of extra role plays thrown in there. But where we were tonight, just in summary, we talked about the 4 units that we have. The 1 unit and the 4 tasks. Task 1 is the quiz. And then we have task 2 is the role play, task 3 is role play, and task 4 is the role play. So our summary is around doing our skills. Role plays are your skills. We can do them live in class, or we can do them with our peers and read the instructions, and that will give you guidance. I do want to say, because this is a live class, that you may be finding that the First Access site is down. It is, but they're just doing, it's who we have our license with for that part of your resource, like Zoom. It just means that they're looking for a fix with their IT, and that'll be back up again. But in the meantime, we will be sending out a pre-recording for you. But this whole unit was around mental health. And CHCMHS011, or the 011, is about well-being, not about the clinical side of things, but you may work with clinicians. So it is your physical well-being, your social, your emotional, your cultural, spiritual, and your psychological well-being. And tonight, in this part of the recording, we had one of our learners who went through and did the very first role play that comes up in this assessment for you, which is task 2, and we had Mary. And we had someone play that for Chelsea. So she's been through that and she's passed it. For any role plays that we do in class, I'm there, assessor-led. I'm assessing in real time. For the ones that you record and do on your own, there's some really clear guidelines. They're not as relaxed as in class because you don't have an assessor there. So you do need to follow your instructions exactly. If it says 10 minutes or don't go over 10 minutes, you cannot give us 5 minutes, not even 7 is enough. You need that full 10 minutes. If it says 15, you need the full 15. But if you went to 30, you know, like we can forgive, you know, maybe an extra 2 or 3 minutes because you're having so much fun, you love the role play. But you need to go into your resources. Discord has all of the role play resources, and the role play resources should be also in your porthole or announcement. If they are not there, then please go to your learner support officers. So there's going to be 2 small recordings that come out of tonight's class. One will be just an overview around the assessments, and then of course your live class. And what I'm doing now is just wrapping that up a little bit for you. So what Chelsea did in her role play was she looked at the basic needs, the psychological needs, and the self-fulfilling needs of that particular client that she had called Mary, who presented with the mental health issue, and she did a review as well, just to follow up on how did that plan look and are we on the right track. So I hope you found that helpful. We had a lot of new learners join us this week, which is amazing, and welcome. And please join us in our live classes or wait for the recordings to come out for you. You will get your resources. You'll have a learner's guide for this unit. You will have your e-learning, which is your practice run, and you will have your assessments, which count towards your marking. So I'll go over that a little bit more. You'll see that in part 1. This is part 2 recording coming out of tonight, but there'll be another one to follow, and it'll be showing you and walking you around your assessments. And then I'll talk a little bit more about that for you as well. So have a great week, and we will see you definitely in next Tuesday for our classes. So yeah, thank you so much. And I'll just take you back to the very beginning where we started with our slides so that you've just got a reminder of the unit that you're working on. And we'll be in this unit next week as well, which is CHCMHS011. We'll be in week 2 of the 3 weeks dedicated over for this.